Hola Madridistas, welcome to our preview for the first home game of the month, and it's also a Madrid derby. We're going to be hosting our local rivals Rayo Vallecano. But before we get into any of that, let's welcome the man himself, Ancelotti out Farouk.
Yeah, that's the thing. We would live or die on this mountain, like whatever it is. We're always gonna be absolutely out. And the day that happens, it's gonna be basically Christmas and New Year and Eid and everything rolled into one giant holiday for me, man.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, there's a lot of rumors floating around that, Xabi Alonso is going to take up the reins. He's having a really nice stint at Leverkusen. And
Leverkusen, right? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they were you the one who shared the stats? So they scored something like 30 goals in like 5 games. So what was that?
No, 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 no. I'm not. I right now I'm just at the point that I'm not too keen on who comes. The point is just who goes. That's just the thing at this point in time.
Well, well, well.
I'm not. I mean, it is what it is, man. Let's see. Like, it's one thing to do it, in Germany with Leverkusen, and it's another thing to do it with Real Madrid. But yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Zizou come back because Zizou basically said this week, like, there is a reason he hasn't coached. He has a very, limited pool of places he can coach. So that's the thing. Like, he's not gonna coach in England. We know in France he's gonna coach just maybe Marseille, maybe in Italy with Juve, and then it's Real Madrid. So it's just 3, 4 cups that he can coach. So and someone who's been there, done it is always easier to say, the devil, is better than the angel. You don't know unless that devil is Carlo Ancelotti. In that case, then everything's better than him.
Wow. Yeah, and I have the stats. So Sunaid was the one who shared it. He says Xabi Alonso's team has scored 50 goals in 14 games. Not bad. And
15, 14.
yeah,
Fucking hell, man.
and they've not conceded a lot too. He's really figured out how to work that team. But anyways, we digress. This is not the part or the episode to discuss Ancelotti out. He's just won a Clasico. Have you lived that down, or has the high been like carried you throughout the week, Farooq?
The classical.
Yeah,
It was really nice actually. Like the classical, the victory of the classical was something that moved towards the beginning of the week, and then there was the Halloween thing and stuff like that, and they have this holiday for Halloween here in Italy actually, so it kind of just compiled the thing, and actually I was able to. Okay, I didn't watch the whole game, but I was able to watch like significant amount of the game again. Like certain portions of the game, and it was at least it was quite interesting for me. Like I was able to feel some things that I
oh,
was,
finally
just
feel
saying
some
in
things. Okay.
the. No, no. I mean, it just feel like it reinforces, what I think and what
Yeah.
I believe, because I just felt like, when you go back and look into that, like you look at, Ilkay scored a goal, Gundogan scored the goal, fine, but you look at the performance of Ilkay and Gavi in the middle of the park, and you kind of feel like, bro, but like we are saying we have the best midfield in the world, but man, we're dealing with a 33-year-old and a 19-year-old, and it's like what was he looking like, and then and now you're thinking also like I don't know, arguably the most informed midfielder we have in Chouameni is also out. Okay, like when I mean informed, yeah, people will come at me, oh, but Jude is okay. Like Jude is scoring, so basically Jude, you can say he's doing the job of a striker. You understand? So like, I mean, when it comes to that midfield stuff, you can. I would say Jude is arguably the most informed attacker we have, but I think the midfielder who has clicked the most, in my opinion, has been Chouameni. And then now you look at he's not gonna be there, so that's why I said like just reinforces what I felt that we are still somewhere somehow I don't know in between spaces.
Yeah, I mean, we all. I feel like we always go through this. Ancelotti turns out at like a silly lineup, or maybe he doesn't prepare well enough for the games, so he gets the tactics kind of wrong. Where he expects the team to play in a certain way, but then that's not exactly how the game will go. And then he has had to adjust in the second half, or if that doesn't work in the next matches. So I feel like he's still learning a lot, and I hope. And just when we learned that, when he realized that Xiaomini was indispensable, we lost him. That's just how it goes in Real Madrid.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. I mean, you say he's learning a lot, man. The man is 1 billion years old, man. After a while, like your brain just doesn't have the capability to learn anymore, man. It's just hardwired. You just go on muscle memory, man. That's just the thing.
All right, all right. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
that.
it's just reality, man. Like it's science. Like it's not an insult or anything. That's just pure science. After a while, like I mean,
I
there's something
mean,
more you can learn.
okay,
That's
Farah,
just the thing.
let's ask you this: like, would you change anything from the Clasico on who started the game?
No, I think about who started. I will definitely change. Like I will definitely would have started with Camavinga rather than Ferland Mendy,
Hmm.
and maybe also Rodrigo rather than sorry, yeah, what was it called?
Joselu.
Oselu rather than Rodrigo.
Hmm.
But again, I think it's not just about that. It's about the lack of fundamental know-how from the players. It's again, I keep going to the same term. It's basically hero ball. We keep playing that ISO ball as they call it in basketball. It's just isolated football. Everyone does what they do best, and you hope for the best in the clicking of the team. Because even when you see what happened in the second half, the introduction of Kamavinga and Luka Modric, also Modric was just doing what Modric does, and that was control the midfield. You understand? So that's the thing. Like it's always that ISO ball, and it's that hero ball thing as well. Again, so it's just about that. It's not about what I will do differently. It's just about the instructions, or rather the lack thereof of the instructions.
Yeah, I get your point about the lack thereof instruction. I feel like whenever we visit, like especially an unknown team, Carlo does not prepare at all. And sometimes he over prepares for these bigger occasions. But yeah, that's just how Carlo rolls, man. And then at the end of the day,
Yeah, that's the
and
thing. Exactly. That's the thing. That's why I've always said, like, it's not, this is not something that I developed last week or 6 months ago. I have always said this, it's about the fact that, okay, we keep doing this, we keep doing this, we keep doing this. But the point is, if I am going to these lesser teams, I shouldn't struggle to win. Or if these lesser teams are coming to me, I shouldn't struggle to win. You know, this is the point. I can understand the struggle, like losing against Atletico, like it's normal. Like this is part of how football is. Okay, as fans, we don't want to do this, but this is the reality. Like as I mentioned before, in my opinion, Atleti are the, title contenders even ahead of Barcelona, like so it's normal to lose to Atleti. It's normal to struggle at Barcelona, to get dominated and all this kind of stuff. But then the point is, if I'm playing Union and then I have to wait till the 90th minute before this guy scores, if I'm going and playing against the Valladolids, the Vallecanos, all those guys. And, if I'm struggling against these guys, then what is the point again? What is the point?
the point
And,
is, like,
people will come and tell me, like, okay, this has been what's happening. Yeah, I know it's always happened. We've struggled. Yeah, even, with Zidane's peak team, we had the B squad who came up in the second half and do the remontadas and the comebacks and all this and what is not. I agree with that. I'm not denying that. But the point is, again, we had exciting football. But right now, it's basically 90 games of struggling, 10 games of exciting football. That's basically one in every 10 games, bro. Like, is that how we want to roll? One in every 10 games?
I feel like all of
To
the games
enjoy
so
just
far have
one.
been exciting, especially for the neutral. It's not been like vintage football, but then uh,
Thank you. Exactly. For the neutral. If you're a neutral, just tune into watching girls, because that's the thing. Like, I mean, for example, yesterday, like Bayern got knocked out of the cup. Okay, like we have no investment there, but this is a third division team. Obviously, you root for the, for the David, in this case, like David clash against Goliath. That's always the case. And whoever Real Madrid plays, we're always going to be Goliath in that game. You understand? So especially when it comes to the La Liga teams, and you're struggling all every single game. And I'm not just talking about the 13 games we've played this season. I'm talking about last year, the year before that, even when we won the UCL as well. As you mentioned rightly, I think you used a very, very right phrase to define that, is that we never looked like winning any game. I think only Girona and Napoli is the game. Oh, sorry, there was also like the first game we played against Bilbao.
yeah.
Bilbao didn't show up, and I think there was one more game. I can't remember which game was that. But like, there have only been 4 games this year that actually we looked like winning. But every other single game, we did not look like winning,
That's true. We actually look like
and
losing,
that's
not even
four.
drawing. Yeah.
Exactly, that's 4 in 13. I mean, come on, this is not fucking Manchester United, man. Come on.
Oh man, don't get me started on Manchester United. Did you watch that game? I mean, I know we're
No, I
like
didn't. I
delaying
didn't. I
until the
didn't
Rayo
see
preview,
them.
but I did.
I didn't. I didn't.
I did catch the highlights. They looked absolutely horrible, and then all the stuff from social media. I feel like Ten Hag doesn't have too long, too long to go.
Definitely, man. I mean, Ten Hag is gone, but I think that's the thing. Like, the question now becomes like, how many will you sack? Till when? When is enough enough? Okay, I can understand. People will draw parallels, but like Ten Hag came, and then you can see, for example, at Spurs you have Postecoglou. He came, and you can see something. Okay, even if they're not the real deal yet, you can see that they're trying to build something there. Emery went to Aston Villa. Gerrard left them 18th in the league. They went to Europe last year. You can see what these people are trying to do. You see, Deserbi came also into Brighton. You can see what these people are trying to do. But with Ten Hag, there is no vision there. There is nothing. And he's going to be this fifth coach or the sixth coach where there is nothing. So the question now becomes, is it the players? Is it the coach? Is it the management? Like, it's just,
It's
honestly,
everything.
Man
I've
United is
like
it's something else,
I've
man.
I've been talking to a lot of Man United fans, and they're always saying it's not just one thing. It's not just the player. It's not the manager alone. It's everything put together. It's the management, the players, and everyone put together. That's calling the whole
I don't know if
ship.
you saw this viral. There was a video that went viral yesterday after the match where they actually put a question to Gary Neville about the fact that Anthony Martial has scored 89 goals in 9 years at Manchester United. Bro, 89 goals in 9 years. That's less than 10 goals a season, bro.
Yeah.
That's less than 10 goals. And you're the starting number nine. Less
Yeah.
than 10 goals a season.
It's crazy.
Bro, that. So you look at this kind of numbers and you feel like,
Hey,
bro,
by the way,
I don't
Farooq, like we
even know,
shouldn't be
man.
laughing. Our forwards aren't like the best right now, too.
We don't have forwards. That's the thing. Like, I mean, at least we don't have forwards. We know that. I mean, Jose even has 5 goals in, I think, how many matches? 8 matches, 9 matches. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Like, we don't have a nine. So that's the thing. We don't have a nine. It's a whole different thing. But I mean, as a starting nine for a club like Manchester United, having 89 goals in 9 years, come on, like that's absolutely crazy, like impossible.
Horrendous. Yeah.
Anyways, man, let's just skip all this BS and get back on course, man.
Back on course. Yeah. Like speaking, you were talking about David and Goliath. Now we have an actual matchup. So we face our neighbors in Rayo. They're eighth in the league, but they haven't had it easy. So their fixture list consisted of Sevilla, Sociedad, Villarreal, all of whom they drew. They also face Atletico and Betis as well. And do you remember the Atletico scoreline?
No, I was it the one where Atletico scored a lot of goals. I
Oh
think
yeah, it was a 7-0.
it was a seven. Yeah, okay, it was a 7-1. Okay, interesting. So that's good. Then at least we know it's either we draw or we have a feast.
That's the case with us. I was looking at all of their highlights today. I think I watched
Yeah.
close all of their league matches highlights, and what stood
Okay.
out to me was they always have a really good start. They always manage to score one or
Hmm.
two goals, go up front, and then towards the end in the second half, they always lose their like
Yeah.
because they're a high pressing team, they lose their energy, and then they're not that good as last year defending out the back as well. And of
Okay.
course, they don't have Fran Garcia helping them out in offense.
That's also true. Actually, speaking of that, that's actually quite interesting because I also saw uh, while their main man, obviously, who is Raul Thomas hasn't scored yet. Like I actually saw that they actually have a couple of goal scorers in the team. And what's actually interesting to me is that actually they've scored 7 goals from like 25 shots, which equate to roughly like 3 chances, like every 3 chances a goal.
Yep.
And you will be surprised. Do you know how many shots on average Real Madrid lets in a game?
Let's in a game. Oh, that's going to be interesting. I'm going to
Three
say
three
7.
shots.
Oh, just 3.
No, yeah. So basically, like we let in 3 shots, and they need 3 shots to score 1 goal.
Oh, how convenient.
So exactly, that's just it, how convenient. Actually, looking at that was, a kind of it brought a kind of laughter, like, oh, how convenient exactly, like, we let in 3 shots. But interestingly, like, I mean, one thing we have to, credit for, like, we always have been shitting our defense, but interestingly, this season we have the best defense in the league. So, credit to both the
Yeah, that's
goalkeeper and
slowly
the
flown
defense
under the
as well.
radar. It's just that,
Exactly.
yeah.
Actually, the thing is that because I think we let in a lot of chances, or rather, like opposition create a lot of chances, and like Rudiger is able to, either with that, crazy hop of his try to, take something out, or we've also had really, really good saves from, Kepa, like whatever you want to say about him, but he's had really, really good saves, in a couple of matches. So I think that's why the numbers don't, show that much. But honestly, like we do concede the chances, but then like someone makes a recovery tackle, a last ditch effort, a save or something like this. So that's how it's just working so far.
Yeah, to sum it up, it isn't always pretty, but we have got the job done so far.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, so you mentioned Raul Thomas. He hasn't scored up front, but they do have other strikers as well. So one of their key weapons laid down in games is Bebe off the bench. So he's just this big striker who can shoot from outside the box, get those headers in. He's actually gotten them, I think, 3 winners from watching the highlights, and
Oh,
that is just
wow.
a hidden weapon they have when Raul de Thomas just doesn't work.
Oh, that's great. So they have the clutchness. Then they have this group of clutch players who come off. That's interesting. Actually, Bebe was a former Manchester United player. I remember when I was younger. He was one of those Portuguese players that what's he called? Sir Alex brought on. After finding Cristiano and Nani, and then they went on for Bebe as well. Hoping for he's going to be the next big thing. And I think he scored on his debut. Or like I remember, I think he scored an important goal. Either it was a winning goal or something like that in the title season or something like that. And after that, it was just downhill for him. I think even he was in Turkey for a while as well while I was there. And yeah, I mean, I remember Baby was a player that, never realized that potential, but he's a very, very good, option to call off the bench. And the clutchness, when it comes to the dying embers, I think it's something that we definitely have to look out for. And you also mentioned Raul Thomas. I was actually seeing earlier as well. Like although he hasn't scored, I think he has 4 assists in the league or something like that. So
Yep.
that's also something as well. It's not just about putting the ball in the back of the net. Obviously, that's your primary job as a striker, but also being able to link up with your fellow attackers when it's not going for you is also really, really important. And I think that's something that we really have to look out for. And honestly, Jacob, I think it's one of those potential banana skins because you're coming off of the high of winning the Clasico. There
Mhm.
might be a bit of lapse in concentration. Because eventually, like these ballers are also all humans, man. Like it's normal. You feel like you're coming home. It's like a celebration of winning the Clasico and something like that. So this, this, as you mentioned, this clutchness that they have off the bench is something that we really, really have to be wary of, considering that we ourselves don't score a lot of goals as well.
Yeah, it isn't exactly the clutchness too. It's our weakness and their strength, which is we start very late in the match. We don't show up for the first 20 minutes, but they do. They have scored a lot of early goals from what I've seen, and that kind of worries me. And you do remember the debacle from last season when we visited them? What was the
Yeah, yeah,
score
yeah,
like?
yeah.
I did forget. Um,
I think that was away, though, not at home. Like because we've won at home 12 consecutive times. That was away.
mm,
I think it was it Rayo against? Yeah, I think it was away.
yeah, Rayo away was bad. Like we did not have a shot on goal or something similar to that, and we just had no answers. They were just too like way better physically and well prepared for the match. And at that point, La
Yeah.
Liga was basically down the drain as well, so we didn't have too much to fight for.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's true. So that's the thing, and because well, then going back to what you initially mentioned about they starting fast, I actually kind of feel like one thing we've seen, like except for the game against Atleti, is that teams will eventually start fast. Unless you're gonna score 3, 4 goals at as the way you start. Like if you're gonna score 1 goal and then retreat like Real Madrid are gonna grow into the game, and eventually we are gonna find a way to score from somewhere. This literally has been the script every single game of the season, except for the Atletico Madrid game. So that's the thing, I feel like if they're going to start, that's why I mentioned that clutchness, because I feel like if they start the first 15, 20 minutes, it's cool. Like we're going to, eventually get into rhythm and our quality is going to shine through, but my problem is if they, start to get into the game, towards the end, like, I mean, it's going to be a 1-1-0, 2-0 kind of game, and you score one in the 79th, 85th minute, it's just 2-1 all of a sudden, it's tense, you throw in a cross here and there, anything can happen, that's the thing. So I feel like, starting very early, it shouldn't be a problem because this is basically how we roll. Like we grow into games, like a lot of teams come out onto us really, really fast and quick and early in the game. But I think we grow into the game, and I think like if uh, Rayo is going to follow the same pattern, I think it really shouldn't be, that too much of a big of a deal. It's at the Bernabeu, so I believe, that 12th man of the fans is going to just get us over the line. But that clutchness that you pointed through, and having weapons off the bench, and Bebe, as you mentioned, is a really big person, and this is something that we know that is our weakness. It's especially our goalkeeper's weakness, our defender's weakness. The ability, that to deal with aerial balls and lack thereof. So it is going to be really, really interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah. Hassan was saying the same thing. So he said, big striker, that's good at us with Alaba trying to defend. Good lord.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the thing. Like, as you mentioned earlier. Okay, what happened?
My power just went out. Hopefully he'll be back soon.
Okay, okay, okay. But then, what about the Wi-Fi? Does it?
Yeah, I do have power backup for the Wi-Fi. It's my PC that's the worry. It might run out in like 10 minutes, but yeah, hopefully power will be back
In
before
like
long.
10 minutes. Come on, then what do you have? No battery on it or what?
And I have a gaming PC, okay? It has an RTX 3060
Oh,
Ti,
oh, 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 oh,
and
oh. Sorry, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, man. I thought it was on your Mac, man. Honestly, sorry, my bad.
okay. Yeah, I could actually switch to my Mac if in case, power goes out. But then the problem is I forgot to charge my Mac as well.
Fucking hell.
Anyways, let's not waste time.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah, 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 yeah. That's the thing, like we're talking about Hassan's comment about the thing with Alaba defending against Bevy, but I think come on, like I mean, our guys have, as we mentioned earlier, like either by hook or crook, they've stood up to the at least the things they've seen. I mean, the only game we could complain about is the Atletico Madrid game, but other than that, like they've stood up to everything that's come across, that's been put to them. And as we mentioned, we basically have the best defense in the league. So yeah, it might not be beautiful all the time, but they try to do what they can do. And these deficiencies are not something new. Even when we won the UCL, like that deficiency was there as well. So it's it's fair game, and I do think that they can get something done. I always mention it's the defense is about collectiveness. If we cannot defend as a collective, then there is no point. Even if you have the tallest man alive, like still it's still not gonna work.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, I mean, just before we go to the real side of things, I do want to mention like we have to touch upon this, right? So we've lost Many, and then eventually that means that we're gonna have Kamavinga play in the center of the park, and we have finally probably a start for Fran Garcia. And on the opposite side, attacking on their right wing is Izzy Palazon. So if you remember from last season's game, he was one of the standout players. You could
Yeah.
just never get the ball out of him, and he's their main playmaker. He cuts inside. He can shoot really well as well. So that really worries me, especially with Fran Garcia playing after a long time.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think even Palazon has 2 goals to assist this season as well. So is something that and he's looking really really dangerous. Even last year, like he was really really dangerous, and I think he's gonna be one of the main danger men of of Rayo in this game as well. But yeah, that's the thing. Like Mendy being out, Tchouaméni being out, like how do you line up is really really crucial to that. And one thing we've seen with Frank Garcia is that he's not the best understander of that defensive spaces that is there in a very tricky winger like Palazon can, really, really take advantage of that. And considering that, they used to train together just a couple of months back, they both know each other in and out. And one thing we know is that, Garcia is not yet comfortable with the system that we have or the system that we don't have rather. So it's for him, it's totally new territory. So like, Palazon is going to be able to exploit that. Hopefully we hope that, depending on who plays, maybe Kamavinga or Tony Kroos will be able to, provide him a bit of backup, in that position. And hopefully the centre backs also can just, come over and try to cover for the gaps. But yeah, I mean, that will be a very, very, interesting matchup. And I think it's going to be a position of worry for me going towards the game.
Yeah, definitely. That's gonna be the flank to watch out for. On the other flank, they do have so they replace Fran Garcia with Alfonso Espino, who was from Cadiz, if you remember from last season. And he isn't someone who really steps out from defense. He absolutely, is an out and out defender, doesn't attack too much. So I feel like if he has support from his teammates, he can, really shut down this out of form Vini.
Yeah, that's the thing, and because also our system is a bit, weirded out, so it's gonna be quite interesting to see how that matchup goes because eventually it's not gonna be a direct 1v1 matchup because like Vini is more of an inside forward, like plays as an inside forward rather than, out and out winger. So it's not gonna be exactly a matchup. So it's gonna be like he's trying to expose, the space between the center back and the fullback. So it's gonna be really interesting to see that. But yeah, like one thing we know is that, if Vini can get himself, interested in the game and forget about the antics and what's happening off of the pitch. I mean, I will bet my money with put my money on Vini against any other defender. So I think being that the game is at the Bernabeu, I believe that Vini is gonna have not an easy time, but Vini should be able to come out on top in that matchup.
Yep, hopefully. And I guess Hassan has a comment, which is a good intro into, previewing our lineup. So he says, "Are you sure about seeing that what he's saying that he's seeing news that Cruz is Carlos' number one choice for DM, and Kama is his first choice as left back as long as Mendy is not fit or in form. Would that surprise you?
Wow. Uh, oh, okay. Now, praise the Lord, we have electricity back.
Yeah, man, I'm so relieved. I was pretty sure my battery was gonna run out as well, and then we're gonna have to do a really rushed up starting 11. But yeah, things things don't turn out
Uh,
well.
so the thing is that when we play the 4-3-3, I think Cruz as a DM is total suicide, in my opinion. But I think in this new diamond system, like Cruz as a DM isn't that much bad of an option because I feel like Kamavinga as a DM as well is also not that good of an option. I don't know if that makes any sense.
That makes a
Like
lot of
Cruz is not
sense.
that bad, and Kamavinga is not that good. So because of that,
See,
like it's just a flip of
here's
a
the difference
coin, man.
between them. What I feel like, if while we're sitting back, the difference between Cruz and Camavinga not that much. But if we are in transition, that's a big difference.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, that's actually that's a really really key point. That's a key point there. That's a key point. But actually, what I feel is this: I genuinely believe that playing Kamavinga as a left back and Cruz as a DM is gonna work. Okay, it's not gonna work in the way that Tchouaméni, does what he does because I don't think, or anyways, like that's why Tchouaméni is like one of the irreplaceable players in the team because basically there is no one that can offer what he offers. So it doesn't matter who plays either it's Cruz or Kamavinga or whatever. They're never gonna offer you what Chouameni offers you. But what I think is that because if the most, at least for me, the thing I enjoy the most about Kamavinga, other than his ability to to understand his defensive duties, is that ability to come into the midfield and become an inverted fullback. For me, this is something I enjoy the most because that requires in footballing intelligence. Honestly, like you can just ask a random athlete who just runs up and down to do this. Honestly, like it requires a bit of footballing intelligence. So I feel like him stepping up into the midfield is going to provide us like a double pivot kind of thing. It's going to be like, okay, Cruz is doing the job, but when this guy steps into the into the midfield as well, he's going to provide extra security, like extra steel for that defensive midfield position. So that's why I kind of feel like if we have Cruz there as a DM and Kamavinga as a left back, I wouldn't be too forced. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, it's not the best team. Yeah, you're not gonna go. I don't think you're gonna go to Man City and beat them with this kind of system. But I believe when you play in at least in La Liga against the Sociedads and the Rayo Vallecanos and the Gironas, I think this is a system that can work.
Fair. I can't believe you actually agreed with Carlo on this one. But interesting that you point that out because let's take a look at how many games Xiaomini is missing. He's gonna miss the next 2 months. So I just had a look at the fixture lineup, and then we are gonna the major teams that we're gonna play is Valencia, Napoli. I mean, Napoli is even if we lose, it's not a big deal. We're gonna be facing Betis and Villarreal as well.
Tough games, man. Tough games, as you mentioned. Like the Napoli game is basically dead rubber, so it's gone. And the point is the way Napoli are playing. Like it's not a team that frightens you too much. Yeah, obviously, there's individual quality there. Like anything can happen, but the way they're playing, like it's not like Napoli of last season. Whether they want to admit it or not, but definitely there's been a huge drop. In the way they play. Like I mean, significant drop. Because when you see them now, like it's just pity football that they're playing, honestly. Well, anyways, yeah, as you mentioned, like I think that's a dead drop. The games that we will really be worried about, it's the Betis Villarreal game because those are, really, really crunch games. I don't know if it's gonna be at home or away, but like those are really, really, crunch games.
I
And
think
also the
Villarreal
game
is
against
away.
Valencia.
Betis is home, I think.
Okay. And the game against Valencia is always a tricky game for us. Like it doesn't matter, who
Yeah.
is fit or who is not fit. Like the game against Valencia is always I mean, Valencia and Villarreal are really, really two teams that, gives us, a really, really tough time. It
Always.
doesn't matter, who plays or who doesn't play. Like even I think even if we're just playing a friendly match with them, it's gonna be a tough one. It doesn't really matter. That's just how the stuff goes. But the good thing about this is that no titles are won in December.
Mm.
And I do believe titles are also not lost in December, in my opinion. I don't think titles are won or lost in December, honestly. I don't think they are won or lost in December. I do think January is the key time. If you're coming out of January still in contention, I think you can go in contention for a very long period of time.
Yeah, I mean, provided that we, don't drop more than 5 or 7 points, we should be good.
So that's the thing. Like, how many games are okay? So the thing is, even if you lose to Valencia, you lose to Villarreal, you lose to Betis, that's 9 points.
9 points, yeah.
So that's just the thing. And like we losing all these 3 matches, like come on, that's almost impossible. I don't think that happens. Even if we drop points here and there. So I believe that, I think the team is gonna be enough to, at least stay in contention. Okay, even if we're not at the top, I believe that the team is strong enough to stay in contention. At least we will stay in contention till Tchouaméni comes back and we can go back to what we're doing. But I do believe that this team is equipped to stay at least 3-4 points, behind whoever is the leader. But I personally would think like we can still be there, like 1 point, 2 point max. But worst case scenario, still 3-4 points behind whoever the leader is, and then we go back in January, and then because January is when I think, if I'm not mistaken, January has a lot of fixtures because you play the Copa del Rey.
Oh, yeah.
Every midweek you have a game, and then you go to
The Super
I
Copa as
remember
well.
January used to
The
be
Super Copa is on Jan.
14L. Shoot me, bro. 14L. Playing nonsense tournaments, man. Anyways, like that's the thing. Like I do believe we can hold the fort down. Like our guys can hold the fort down. As I said, like as long as because for me the key thing would have been if this was February, March, and Tchouaméni is missing, because you go and play these big Champions League matches, and honestly, we have seen how important DMs are across Europe for the past 18 months. You want to talk about Rodri, or you want to talk about the purchase of different rights. You want to talk about how much was paid for Moses Caicedo, or you want to look at Thomas Tuchel's struggle for finding a number 6. It's all there. We've seen how important these players are throughout Europe as well. So that's the thing. Like players like that are really really at a premium. So that's why it's really important to have someone who can do this. Even if Tchouaméni isn't especially, or rather wasn't especially CM. Like I mean, at least so far this season, like he's the midfielder that I have been impressed with the most, at least performing the midfield duties.
Hassan has an interesting point. He says since Kamavinga dropped that performance at Tchouaméni's position at Anfield last season, he should have been the first choice if Tchouaméni isn't available. Do you feel like it isn't exactly a one-to-one switch, but do you think Kamavinga, a solid 2 months of playing DM can actually help his midfield form?
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. Like, if you remember as well, like when Tchouaméni came, also he wasn't a specialist DM. It's just as I mentioned, it's about that that repeatability. When you repeat it and repeat it, you start to understand what this position demands from you. And obviously, that's the great thing about these players is that they are young and they're intelligent players. Like they are players that can mold themselves into what is required of a certain position. So that's the thing. Like, Kamavinga has played there, here and there, but it's not like he has continuity there for us to say, okay, yeah, like he's the ideal replacement for this guy.
Yeah.
Cruz also has played there, here and there as well. That's why, like, they're both, possible. Like, no one is saying Fede Valverde should be a replacement for this, or Jude Bellingham should be a replacement for this. So it's not like, people are just throwing random names out there. Like, you're talking about people that actually also have played there and shown that they can do this, you understand? So playing a 4-3-3 with Toni Kroos, I mentioned earlier, that's why everyone is worried about that. I even will be worried. But now, because the system is not a 4-2-3, now it's a 4, it's a midfield 4, it's a diamond. And when you look at the people that surround Toni Kroos, it's Fede Valverde, it's Camavinga, it's Jude. Like, it's a lot of athleticism that can try to mask that deficiency that that Toni Kroos has, at least when it comes to mobility. You understand? So I feel like it's going to be a really different play from Toni Kroos than we've seen when it was a 4-3-3. Honestly.
I mean, provided that it's a smaller team, because we obviously saw what happened against Atletico. He absolutely got bossed.
That's exactly. That's why I mentioned to you at the beginning, like, okay, this is gonna work. Why I mentioned to you, like, come out left back, Kroos at at the 6. It's gonna work when you play the Rayos, even teams like Sociedad, the Atletico Bilbao. It's gonna work. But when you go to the Crema de la Creme, like basically Atletico Madrid just feasted on exploiting our fullbacks. When you go and play, maybe even Barcelona, when you go and play the likes of the cities and these top European teams, obviously it's not gonna work. You understand? But the point is, as a makeshift in La Liga, like, if this is not working, then bro, let's just close the shop and go home.
Right.
I mean, if Toni Kroos and Camavinga cannot hold the fort down against Vallecano, then I'm sorry, like, I mean, we're in the wrong business then.
Right. I mean, just continuing on our injury talk, so Mendy's not going to be playing as well. Do you know how long he is out, or is it just a nickel that he's not going to be starting against Rayo?
I'm not honestly sure, but I was asking you guys earlier. I think Suri was saying like Mendy is training alone indoors, so at least you're considering that he's training, so it means that there is nothing major. So maybe he just needs in a couple of weeks to maybe 1 2 weeks, to recuperate and get back into full fitness again. But he that's the thing. That's the thing about Mendy. I've always said this. Like, yeah, maybe he was the best defensive fullback. Okay, he hasn't gotten back there yet, but for him to get back there, he needs to play himself into form and be the best defensive fullback he was. But the thing is, availability is the best ability. When you're not available, then what's the point? We have Mendy, but where is Mendy? He's somewhere in space that we don't know.
He's at the training facilities always.
I mean, I said this before, and Mo was like, it's not right to blame a player for being injured. But the point is, you have to look after yourself as a professional. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
when
injuries
this is
can
a
happen, but when you
consistent
keep
pattern,
having
like of course it matters.
exactly,
Yeah.
when you keep having muscle injuries every fucking time, bro. I mean, come on, we have to start looking in the mirror as well, man. Come on. There is, availability is the best ability. You're there, but you're not there. Then what's the point of having you?
If you remember, this was always a concern. So before, who did we buy Mendy from? Before he joined that team, he had like a serious injury
Leon,
where
yeah.
he was seriously sidelined for a year and a half because of his muscle injuries. He just couldn't get into any sort of form, and finally we thought his injuries were past and behind him when he finally made it into French first division, and then we got him. Zizou was his like big proponent, and then suddenly
Yeah,
he
yeah.
has lost it. He has lost his health.
That's the thing, like, I honestly, like, I've always said it's like when it comes to defensive abilities, honestly, I don't think there's a better fullback, at least in my opinion, based on what I have seen from, what Mendy offers. But the point is, he's been injured and out of form for the best part of the last 18 months, man. Like, I mean, yeah, okay, we won the league, we won the Champions League, and he was so important and crucial, all fine and good. Like, I can all agree to that. But I mean, we live in the present, not in the past, man.
Yeah.
If we live in the past, the likes of Ramos and Cristianos and the Zidanes will still be playing till today, man.
I think it especially holds true for this formation. Like we just can't afford to have just uh, an average fullback. We need productivity from these fullbacks, both in defense and in attack, to make this diamond work.
Definitely, man. That's the thing. Like, that's really, really important. Like the fullbacks, because right now you don't have any, outlets because you don't have any wingers in the team. So like those fullbacks basically are gonna play the roles of wingbacks. So that's why we see Carvajal flying. Like he has the freedom like to roam the whole wing, and do his thing. And luckily for us, he's at least as close to prime Carval as we can get the -33. So it's okay. But I mean, we can see on the other side, like there is basically nothing. Not until and unless Kamavinga plays, do you actually see, something clicking with this team. But that's the thing. Like people will be like, oh, but you're clowning on this, and I think we've had that discussion with Smith a lot of time as well. Like about the fact that, but we have very short memories, and you're saying, yeah, fine and good, okay, yeah, this is this, but like the man is not even there to play. Okay, let's put him in the team. Yeah, but where is he?
Yeah, the argument is always like if Mendy is truly fit and ready in form, there's no other fullback like him. But then he just can't get himself there.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we need to get in the market, man. And I'm hearing, rumors about Fonzie, man. I am totally 100%. Even though I know Alfonso Davies also has his defensive deficiencies, but man, I am totally in that on that, man. Honestly, like let's get Fonzie in, and we can reminisce again the good old days that we had with Marcelo and Coentrao, man.
At various moments in the Clasico, I just wish, Camavinga was happy playing at left back too. Uh, Although he has said on multiple occasions that he isn't, because he just is so stylistically close to Marcelo as well, with his rainbows and spin arounds, the way he holds the ball.
I think honestly, like I don't think they will, convert Kamavinga to a fullback. But I think like one the thing about Kamavinga is that when you watch him play fullback, you can understand his football intelligence because sometimes it's so difficult, because of the way he plays. You kind of mistake him for just one of those athletic midfielders that just take the ball and run and run and run, something like that. But honestly, like he's a very, very, like he has a really high football intelligence as also. That's the thing, like having that allows you to be able to, perform across multiple roles. But yeah, I mean, the man doesn't see himself as a fullback, and also I don't see him as a fullback. But the point is, right now, I think he's the best left back we have in the team. So
Yeah. Right. Before we head into the lineups, I guess we just have one more topic, which is I saved the last for the lead. I mean, but it's not the least. It's Arda Güler, so he's gonna come on. Is he gonna feature Farooq? Do you think?
yeah, I think Arda. I mean, it's a home game, so I think Arda can look like 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes here and there. Just because the thing is already the midfield is depleted, so he can I don't know how fit Dani Ceballos is as well, but I think I was reading as well that Dani Ceballos also has
Ceballos
a
is not
return
gonna
date of.
be featuring in the match. Pretty sure.
It's not gonna be
Yeah, he
okay.
has a
So
hamstring
that's
issue,
the thing,
so
like
it's been going on
yeah,
for a while.
Sam. Okay, because I heard like he was supposed to return in November, but when in November I don't know exactly. But anyways, it's November already. So I think with Arda, like 5, 10 minutes, because we know like even since before the Clasico, he's been fit and training with the guys, but just to get him fully into the match fitness and stuff like that. So I think getting Arda in for 5, 10, 15 minutes, at the Bernabeu is really gonna be something really really nice, especially as I mentioned, like the midfield is depleted, so already you're gonna play the maximum number of midfielders you have already on the pitch. So when it comes to a late sub, I think especially if let's say we're winning, and that there is no tension attached to the match, no drama. I think it's the perfect debut for Arda.
Exactly. If you're leading, this is one thing I wanted to talk about. Is that Jude Bellingham has not been getting any sort of rest at all. He's been playing 90 after 90, and at one point he has to have a rest.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna rest. Well, I mean these are the games you want to play, man. Like it's the minutes, man, to build himself into form. Like these are the games you want to play. Like they're gonna get rest, when we play the garbage Champions League games, when we play the hopefully we can win next week. I believe we should be through to the round of 16, and the last two games are gonna be garbage, and then also comes the early rounds of the cups as well. So the thing is, we just have to push ourselves, to be in contention when those time for rest comes, because the point is if you start to trail in the league right now or start to lose UCL matches, then everything starts to become a do or die affair. There is much more pressure there. So I believe that right now with the form Bellingham is in, I don't even think he wants to rest as well, because he knows for sure this is a purple patch that's gonna evaporate sometime. So the point is just have to aim and maximize before the evaporation time comes.
Exactly. Okay. So if Bellingham is gonna like play 90 after 90, and let's say Rodrigo comes off or Vini comes off, do you think Brahim is gonna come on or Arda Güler? Because recently, I feel like Brahim Diaz has really lost his spot. He isn't even coming on as a sub.
Yeah, I think the point is like maybe you don't want to play. Okay, let's say. But I think putting on Brahim for this, I think Joselu for Rodrigo will make more sense. Maybe Brahim for Vini at a later point in time. But I think most likely, in that sense, then maybe like giving Jude a 80-minute run, a 75-minute run out would be logical as well. If that's the case. But the point is that I mentioned earlier, like all our games have been dramatic. At least most of our games have involved a lot of drama. So and you need the most informed attacker that you have, and right now it's Jude. So you don't want to take him out in that crunch moment. Honestly, that's just the thing as well. So when because ideally it would have been to remove him and play Brahim in the hole. That might be suitable for Brahim as well. But Brahim as a 9 or as a false 9, it doesn't fit too much.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. So that's why he's falling down the pecking order. But again, injury to Tchouaméni, I think opens at least one more spot on the team. So I think maybe I don't know. Let's see if Brian can take that, or if he gets unlucky and Arda comes in passing in the pecking order as well. That would be quite sad. And let's not forget about the return of Ceballos as well, because at least for me, in my opinion, Dani Ceballos is for sure ahead of Brahim Diaz when it comes to the pecking order as well. So that's quite interesting to see how it works. But again, it's about the issue that the role that at least in this formation, I think the role that suits Brahim is being played by the most informed attacker in the world. Like Jude is scoring left, right, center. No one is going to take you out and put Brahim.
Yeah.
This is just the unfortunate part of it.
Yeah, especially when we can never finish a game before like the 90th minute or 95th minute or whatnot.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. I mean, let's head into the lineups then. we've been talking about the lines all this while, but yeah, let's put some numbers and names into it.
Question though, like, do you think Carlo goes switch back to a 4-3-3, given the fact that we've lost a midfielder?
Never, man, no. I think the diamond is here to stay as long as Jude is here, playing.
I see.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, why would you put him back farther away from the goal when he's in this red hot form? Or maybe like Jude needs to have like a series of stinkers of games for him to get dropped, and then maybe we go to a 4-3-3. But as long as Jude is a primary goal getter, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, actually, I think the point is that like the way Jude has played himself into stuff like now, I think now he's basically undroppable. Like he's not gonna get dropped. Like even if he has thinkers of 3 games in a row, I don't think he's gonna get dropped. So I think that's the thing right now. So, but I don't think what I actually was trying to say is that because when the specialist DM is no longer there, I'm saying specialist, but also Troy is actually not a specialist DM.
Man,
Anyways, when your
in Carlos'
specialist DM
eyes,
is no longer
everyone is a specialist. If both of those guys are out, if Cruz and this guy is out, I feel like Modric is gonna play that, and Carlos gonna think he's a specialist.
actually, what I was thinking, like if you switch, what do you? I don't know. What about you think about this? Like, well, if you switch to 4-3-3, yeah, you have a flat three midfielders of Camavinga, Jude, and Valverde. Like, I think that's gonna be quite an interesting midfield to look out for.
That's gonna
And
be quite
then
a midfield.
exactly, that was what actually I was thinking. But then again, yeah, as you mentioned, I think that will never happen. That's just gonna be something that will remain in fantasy. And for those who play FIFA, you can also just try it out there to at least ease your pain.
Yeah.
But that's the thing because in that case, then you can play Rodrigo out wide, Vinicius out wide, and Joselu through the middle. It kind of brings back that familiarity to also to the attackers as well. But yeah, I think you totally hit the nail on the head. Like as long as Jude is here, like there is nothing else that's going to happen other than the diamond. Everyone will, get injured and whatever will happen, but the diamond will stay.
Even if, let's say, even Valverde, God forbid, or Cruz, both of them are injured, we're still gonna play the diamond.
Yep.
We somehow
Yeah.
managed to find Philosoph out of nowhere, but yeah. So yeah, let's start with the attack then. Obviously, like we know in past weeks, we wanted Josele to start so much. He still hasn't started in so long. Do you think he actually gets a start at Rayo at home? Not a chance, right?
I think considering how bad of a game Rodrigo had, I think he starts.
So I think Carlo actually said like Carlo didn't say that Rodrigo had a decent game, but then feel
Yeah,
like
yeah, I think he said something like
oh
that.
he
I think
did.
he said Rodrigo had a decent game. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then
I think
even
he said something
Rodrigo
like that.
in the post-match comments or somewhere in the interview was like, I think when he actually got renewed, so he said, I want to thank Carlo Ancelotti for his continued belief in me, and that's the thing with Carlo Ancelotti, right? It's like it's a trust-based system. It's not a it's not a form-based system. So even if you play shit, if you Carlo knows that you have the ceiling, he's still gonna play you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, but the point is, about that is that yeah, okay, he got renewed. It's great, like perfect, fantastic. But again, I still maintain my sentences. I do think I expected him to have a very good year this year. I thought he was going to be the breakout star, and I actually thought he was going to be the most improved player this year, honestly.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Hopefully, he still can refine his form, and so I thought he was going to move to the next level. But I do think difficult discussions have to be had about Rodrigo either the end of this year or the end of next year.
You're the ideal candidate to ask because I was looking over the comments. I saw his renewal post posted by Real Madrid, and then all of the comments said like we shouldn't have renewed him for until 2028. That's a long time, and given his current form and then the players that we're looking to bring, he might not be necessary until 2028.
I mean, it's not about being necessary or lack thereof. Like 2028 is good because why? Like it gives you as an asset, it's monetary value. Like you cover play till 2028. When you want to sell him, obviously it gives more value to your player. It's not just about that. It's about the fact that you're looking to pay a lot of money for Kylian Mbappe. Are you gonna bring Kylian Mbappe into the team and ask him, oh, you're gonna play second fiddle to Rodrigo? I mean, Vinicius for sure. Everyone knows like he's untouchable.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as people want to talk about Jude and anything, whatever you want to say, Vini is the Real Madrid right now. He's the face of Real Madrid. Yeah, okay, Jude is English, so it's easy for the media to hype him and all that bullshit. But Vini is the face of Real Madrid. This is just the truth. So like Vini is untouchable. And honest to God, I'm not lying. Like I love Kylian Mbappe to bits, but bro, you give me Vini, you give me Kylian, I take Vini 100%. I'm not saying Kylian is better than Vini or Vini is better than Kylian. No, I know Mbappe is better than Vini. I 100% agree with that. But at least for my own personal choice, I will take this guy 100. If this is the two options, I would take Vini.
Yeah, I
But the
think I
point
would.
I'm trying to make here is that
I think every Real Madrid fan would, man, to see what Vinny has done, especially in like bigger games. He always shows up. He's not like
exactly,
Mbappe. Sometimes,
exactly,
if the team does,
exactly,
even if the team
exactly.
doesn't do well, Vinny does well. But Mbappe, I'm not so sure.
And I think one thing about Vini also is that, I don't know, like, at least for me, what I feel is that you kind of feel an emotional attachment to him
Yeah,
in the sense that, we came and we saw, how ridiculously shit he was. Literally, like, I would just use this metaphor, like, he was kicking penalties to throw ins. That's
yeah,
how bad his finishing was.
yeah.
Like, he was making the impossible
It
possible.
wasn't
Like,
just finishes. Even passes, he couldn't pass for shit.
that's it. Like, his decision was shit, and then you see how he makes that next step, and how emotional he was about that. Like, it kind of, because you watch that, so like it gives you that, kind of attachment to him. Like, okay, this guy is doing this for our team, and he has struggled, and he tried himself, he pushed. I mean, I remember like Vini came and he was looking like me, like a lanky figure, man, and then now the man has six packs, muscle everywhere. Come on, like, I mean, so you can feel that.
Wait, Farooq, are you saying you
Again,
don't
like,
have six packs? I don't believe you.
man,
We should
what
ask
I
the
have
ladies
is
in
three and a
Milan.
half.
They would know.
What I have is 3.5 packs, man, at least compared to what Vini has. Yeah, man. Anyways, back to that, I do feel like, difficult discussions have to be had about Rodrigo. I don't know what it's going to be or how it's going to end. I am happy he got the contract extension, and I really do hope that he gets his shit back together this season because I expected a lot from him this year. But I do think difficult discussions are going to be had about Rodrigo, honestly. That's just the thing, whether we like it or not. Because the people that the club is looking to bring in, definitely, either Rodrigo accepts to be the impact sub or he moves on because there is no third option there.
Yeah. I mean,
I
what do
just
you
don't see
think
the
will
third
happen though?
option.
Like, just judging from what you've seen from Rodrigo as a person so far, do you think he'll be happy with a sub role?
I think Rodrigo will stay to fight for 1 year, and after that, he will be like, nah, fuck shit, I ain't doing that. Because one thing we know is that if the team contains Vini, Kylian Mbappe, inshallah, and Bellingham, these are the three faces of the club. So basically, what's going to happen is like it's just going to be a core like Bale and Cristiano that you cannot do shit with them.
Yeah.
You cannot do shit with them.
You know,
Like, so that's the thing. Like, if these are the three forwards, then what is Rodrigo doing? As I mentioned, he's just going to have to be the sub. The impacts of like those are players talented and skillful as Rodrigo want to be a sub. This is the question. That's why I said this difficult discussions have to be asked about him. Yeah, for me as a fan, I definitely want him to be there. But then, as we saw with Isco and James Rodriguez in the past, even Alvaro Morata in the past,
nobody's
it wasn't enough for them.
nobody's irreplaceable. Yeah.
So that's the thing, like, and the point is like, not everyone is a Lucas Vasquez or a Nacho. The point is like, these are like really, really, really talented players. These are players that will go on to become world class talent. At least this is what we expect of Rodrigo. Like, he's not gonna feel like, yeah, I want to sit on the bench at Real Madrid. No, yeah, it's the best club in the world and all this nonsense. But he doesn't want to come and sit on the bench as well.
Yep. No, the only thing in Rodrigo's favor is that maybe next season we are not going to play a diamond again. If Ancelotti
If we
comes
get a new
in,
coach, right? Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So that's going to be
Definitely.
in his
If
favor.
we get a new coach. But that's
Yeah.
the thing, like it also man, I do have very, very strong opinions about that still as well, because I feel like there's still gonna be something missing. Because I feel the whole issue with Kylian Mbappe and the bullshit that he has been pulling with Paris is, oh, I don't have a pivot, you need to give me a pivot. I'm playing with Giroud in France and this and that. So who's gonna be the pivot? Rodrigo?
I don't think so.
They literally bought two players, Colomwani and
Wait, how's
what's
that
the
working
other
out for
Portuguese
PSG
player?
so far? Are they doing well in the league at least?
They keep playing hero ball, man. Like that's what they keep doing. Like Kylian Mbappe scores or Colomwani does his magic today, or the other, Lee Kang-in or Zaire Williams. Those guys just keep taking turns to doing magic. But then yeah, it's still the shitty League One, man. What are you talking about? So it's just all shit.
Right.
But yeah, I still feel like even if we get a new coach, we're gonna get Kylian Mbappe, and we're still gonna look forward to getting another attacker into the team. When I mean an attacker, I mean a striker. I don't know, but
You're not going to be happy with
I don't
Joselu?
know.
Just imagine having a front three of Joselu, Vinicius, and Mbappe.
Anyways, man, we've talked a lot of nonsense. Let's get back to
Oh yeah,
to our stuff.
sadly yes.
Yeah, but yeah, man, he signed in 28. I think Vini also signed in 27.
We
So at
need
least that means
27.
at least
Valverde and Camavinga are incoming anytime.
perfect. I mean, that's the thing. I think it shows that at least our future is secured. At least for now, hopefully, with more things to come from this, very very talented players. Hopefully, we can win something. Hopefully, one day the treble.
One
Hopefully,
day.
one day. Fingers crossed. Yeah, man. So I think Vini starts in the forward line. I think, in my opinion, Jose should start ahead of Rodrigo because Rodrigo's just been having a stinkers upon stinkers, honestly. And I think taking him out of the starting lineup would be the best, in my opinion.
But at home, I don't think that's like the right way to go. That would send like a message.
Yeah, man. I mean, let him come in as an impact sub. Like, obviously, the whole point is to send the message, man. It's a wake up call. That's the
That's
whole
true.
point.
Yeah, I think every single Real Madrid fan would agree. Rodrigo needs to sit on the bench and come off, gain back his confidence as a sub. Make sure he doesn't get too comfortable.
That's the thing, man. Everyone will agree except the one person that actually has to agree. That's the only person who would not agree, and then everything else is fucking bullshit, bro. I mean, all 7 billion people in the world can agree. If Carlo doesn't agree, then it's all bullshit, man. There is no democracy in this.
That's true. Right, man. There's no point in arguing. Like we know who's gonna start as the
Exactly.
forwards. So
Exactly.
let's go to the midfield.
Interesting.
Obviously, Jude, Valverde gonna be playing Cruz as well. Considering that we have
Exactly.
a very close game against Praha, and then possibly Modric might be needed to come in that game.
So that's the thing, actually, for this game, like Mendy is out. We talked about, I think, 3 players for sure are shooting, as you mentioned, Fede, Cross, and Jude. 3 for sure they start. Like, who is the fourth player, This is the question now. And that also relies on, I think that relates to closely to who starts at left back.
Yeah, I feel like
So I
every
think,
single lineup of us we can judge on like two schools of thought. One is like the wonky Ancelotti mentality, and then one is like a rational behavior. So rationally, if you look at it, if you ask me, we should start Fran and then have a Kamavinga at DM. Like that's what
okay.
a normal guy would do. What's your take?
Actually, I will say I'm the abnormal guy here, and fine, I will, be in Carlos court here,
Oh, okay.
start Kama as a, as a D as a left back, sorry, and then play fucking hell, play Modric.
Cruz as DM
But
and
then
Modric.
that's what I was gonna say. The Cruz as DM with Modric playing, I don't think that's the best. You know,
Yeah,
that's the best way to go. That's not the best way
I
to
feel
go,
like
man.
that's not enough legs in
Okay,
there,
man.
like we say.
Nah. That's not the best way to go, in my opinion, man. I don't think so. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I think in that case, then yeah, we can go with Fran as left back and play Kamavinga as a DM and just leave Cruz where Cruz has been playing because I
Yeah,
think on the
the
left side
only
of the
positive
midfield.
of Chamini's injury is that if Fran Garcia can actually start most of the games these next 2 months, and if he builds himself into like a good set of form, like we have someone we can take into the Champions League as an alternative, like and potentially play Kamavinga somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing now becomes is it's about also if Fran has 2 stinkers in a row, do you think he starts the third game? Definitely not. Like
No,
you know,
not with Carlo.
it's just exactly Nacho is going to play, someone else is going to play, whoever someone is going to play. So that's the thing. Like also, let's not forget about Nacho possibility as a left back as well. So this is the thing. Like so I don't think that spot is out and out there for France taking. It's just okay. He's an option, but he's not the option.
He's an option. That oh man, you hit the nail on the head. Now that you've said it, I actually think Nacho's gonna start against Rayo.
So that's the thing. Like that's why I brought his name up. Honestly, like but I think Fram will want to play against his old team, but then it's not a homecoming because it's at the Bernabeu and stuff like that. So yeah, but let's just round up our midfield and just agree on the fact that okay, we put Kama at the six, and then the other three as they've been playing all
Definitely,
season,
we have no
and
option.
then we can go to the defense and see like okay, how do you deal with David Alaba then? Like, do you start Alaba or like do you give him a rest and play Nacho, and then based on that we can decide on the fullback as well.
Uh, I'm gonna give most of the rest like in the Braga game. Like whatever you want, whoever you want to rest, they're gonna get a rest in the Braga game. This game, we gotta win.
But then the point is like you want to close out against Braha as well. Like you want to close everything because you win at the Bernabeu on Wednesday, you're through. Champions League chapter is closed until February again.
That's true. I mean,
So
we can
that's also
always
another
bring players
perspective.
on when if the going gets tough, if we aren't able to score. It is a home game. I don't think Braga has a really good record away
Yeah,
from
but
home.
then you're right again as well, man. Like if those guys cannot deal with Braha, like I mean, we should
What
again
are we
close the
doing?
shop and go home.
Yeah,
Exactly. We're in the wrong business then. With all due respect, to the Portuguese club with a fantastic stadium. Actually, after you told me about the stadium, man, it's a really, really nice one,
yeah,
honestly. If one gets the chance, I think it's one of the places one should definitely visit. Like at least for the architectural, for the engineering masterclass, even if not for a game, just for that, it's fantastic.
exactly.
But yeah, I
Okay,
mean, so in that case, then we just play everyone. We play Alaba, and then we play obviously, our master defender this year, the
Rudiger.
Lord Tony Rudiger. Yeah, and Danny Carvajal. Hopefully, he gets a rest in the middle of the week with Lucas Vasquez. But I don't know. I kind of feel like the trust in Vasquez has decreased a lot because I kind of feel like he's not even getting those runouts that normally you would get.
When was he last played against Sociedad? If I remember correctly.
I think it's been I think even the Champions League games he hasn't played, because
No,
I
no,
felt
he
like,
hasn't.
going to Portugal against, Sporting Braga, maybe, like he's gonna get a chance there, but nah, nothing, man.
Yeah.
I think maybe the confidence in him has dropped a lot. I don't know.
Or
Maybe I
maybe
don't
it's
know.
just that
I
Carvajal
maybe
is just too undroppable at this point.
I know definitely, but the point is, we've always talked about this. Carvalho is always, a touch and go kind of player, and right now the way he's playing, the gap is going to be so huge when Lucas Vasquez eventually has to replace him. For some games, like it's going to be so fucking huge, bro.
You know the funny part? I remember me and Sunil, we were watching along for the preseason, and then Lucas Vasquez looked really good in the diamond when compared to Carvajal. Carvajal wasn't really in form in the preseason, but Lucas Vasquez had it. He was combining well with Brahim and Joselu.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing. Like, because Vasquez was an out and out winger. So, like when you give that freedom, because basically there is no winger, he has to, patrol the whole pitch himself. That's the thing. And whether we like it or not, but Lucas Vasquez on his day is one a very very good crosser of the ball.
Yeah,
His deliveries are really on point, especially when you have a target man to cross the ball to. But then when you're playing a small ball and there is no target man in the form of Osiru there, like who are you crossing to? Then this is also another issue.
that's true. Yeah, obviously, man. Like I think Carvajal's still gonna start. These guys at the center back. There's not gonna be any change. Left back.
Yep.
Do you think Nacho gets a chance?
Yeah, I think I actually will go with Fran. I think
Mhm.
because Nacho will play in the middle of the week as a center back. I think Fran should get the chance, should get the nod. So basically, we're looking at the back four of Fran, Alaba, Tony Rudiger, and Dani Carvalho.
I agree. And you know what? Like I really want Fran to succeed as well. So if any game time that he gets, like it's a win for me. And I hope he plays a lot in these 2 months.
That's the thing, man. Like Fran actually, as I said, like he's coming to an anomaly of a system, like where everyone doesn't know what they have to do. So it's very difficult for him, honestly, because like we all loved him, at least coming into the team, not as the first option, but as an option that maybe one day would challenge to be the first option, but it's just unfortunate that like he has to come into a team that doesn't have any balance and any kind of instruction to play. Like, so it's a bit difficult, but hopefully he will get there. And if not, like he's trying his best, and he can just move on.
Absolutely. And of course, we have Kepa in goal.
The Lord and Savior Kepa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we like to
that's the
joke,
thing,
but
like
he's
people.
actually saved us a few times this season.
Exactly. That's it. Like, we can be as ridiculous and ridicule him as much as we want, but man is getting the job done. That's
Yeah.
just the thing, man is getting the job done.
All right. Let's go to the predictions. Let's do two predictions. The first is obviously the scoreline. The other one is Arda Güler gonna feature at any point?
Yeah, man, I think as we mentioned, before, like, Golair coming in, if we have the game in the bag, for the last 10, 15, 20, last 10, 15 minutes, not 20, last 10, 15 minutes, at least, just to have an easy introduction into the first team football. So I think that would be perfect. But yeah, man. Yeah, other than Arda, I think this should also be quite an interesting win. I think, they're going to have the three shots and one goal, and we're going to have two goals as well. So we're going to eventually win 2-1.
Who's gonna get the goals?
Actually, I would say for them RDT because it's customary for RDT to score. But then for us, I think we're gonna have Jude again doing what he does.
Two from Jude again. No Winnie.
Not two for Jude, but like one from Jude, and I don't know who will score the other. Maybe Fede this time around. We don't know.
Yeah, that's like probably the best prediction to go with, because it's at home, and I feel like Rayo's defense is there for the taking if we do manage to
Yep.
get some good plays in. I feel like we're gonna get a 3-1. They're obviously gonna score, and it's probably gonna be RDT with his history with us. But yeah, and I actually think Guler is gonna feature for at least 20 minutes. Let's see
Okay.
if we
Okay.
are winning
Fingers
it
crossed.
comfortably.
Hopefully, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can get his stuff done and impress us a bit.
Right. Let me see if we have any other comments. Yeah, Sunil's also saying like he's super excited about Gula's debut, and he also asks Farooq. It's a question for you. Farooq had doubts if Jude is gonna sustain the goals. Do you still doubt it, Farooq? And then he's saying, but now here you are predicting a Jude goal.
Yeah, of course. The thing is, like Jude is not, as I mentioned before, is just gonna score 50 goals in 50 matches. No, but the man is coming in red hot form, so he's gonna score. That's just the thing. He's he's still on that purple patch. You have to even maximize that.
Yeah.
But obviously, even Jude knows he cannot sustain the goal scoring form. I don't think there is any other person in the world that actually thinks he can sustain the goal scoring form.
I don't know. I don't know. Sunil here might think he is going to sustain not a goal a game, but then maybe a goal every other game. I think that's doable if we keep the current system.
A goal every other game, bro. Like that's you're going into even the territory of the Ruud van Nistelrooy's, bro.
Yeah.
Before Messi and Cristiano came along, like a goal a game was impossible. A goal every other game was what made a fantastic
So
striker,
in today's game,
And
I
then
feel
now
like
you're saying Jude is.
we're setting the whole team up for Jude to score. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. Like I totally agree with that sentence, and that's why actually I just go back to the. It's not about taking anything away from Jude or anything, but like as you mentioned, like everything is being set up for him to score.
Yeah.
This is the thing. So this is the thing as well. But I just feel like nah, I don't think that's sustainable. Honestly, definitely not. But yeah, I think in this game, like he's one of the players to look out for. At least while the purple patch keeps going, I believe it can be. But like sustaining that, definitely not. Like come on, like no one believes he's gonna. I mean, maybe Sumail believes that. I don't know, but
If it
I
happens, great.
personally
But
cannot believe that.
yeah, I don't think it's gonna be sustainable throughout the season. Let's see.
I mean, he has 13 goals in 30 games. Basically, you're asking him to score 50 goals in 50 games. Like even Kylian Mbappe has scored 50 goals once in his whole
If
life.
Bellingham scores 50 goals, like the Ballon d'Or is like done. We're getting it.
Bro, if Bellingham scores 50 goals, man, I don't like buying jerseys and putting people's name. I will buy 5 Bellingham, man. Like, come on, like, and put it on my wall and everyone can see because you can at least just even start worshipping the jersey then, man.
Yeah. Let's take another bet, Farooq. Like if Jude scores 50 goals, you're gonna buy a Jude shirt for Ashik.
If Jude scores 50 goals, I'm gonna buy 10 shirts for. Okay, let's not say Ashik per se, like it's gonna be too much, but I'm gonna give every single one person on the panel a Jude shirt.
Oh wow. Okay.
Impossible, like it's not gonna happen. Like there's no need to even go there. And Ashik is gonna get one Jude shirt and one Hagi Galatasaray shirt. Well, yeah, that's not gonna happen. So there is no point.
Let's see. The season is long. He might surprise you. Both of them might surprise you, even Joselu.
I mean, we're coming into January actually, and I feel like Jose is gonna come this against this Alcacon or Alcoyano or these clubs that have no name, Fonel de Brother and something like that, and just be like, here comes your hat trick.
Yeah, especially when Copa del Rey comes around, you gotta watch
Exactly,
out for.
exactly, man. Exactly. Anyways, man, it is what it is. I mean, the point is, if Joselu has scored a hat trick, it means it's been an interesting game. So it's a small price to pay, and we will always find, a solution.
Yep, right. We'll wrap it up with that. For all of you guys still listening, how many of you are still listening? There's 8 of you on there. That's a huge number for a preview that we have so far. So all of you hit the like button right now before we go. And if you are a new viewer and if you aren't a subscriber yet, consider subscribing, man. Help us out. And we're also on all the audio platforms. So if you're hearing us from there, please give us a follow or a like. And there's also an option to leave a review out in Spotify. Let us know where we're going wrong, and let us know if you have any other views, or especially if you want to join in on the action, on the live. Come over here on YouTube. It's always a good time. And we're also on Instagram. We are putting out, so there's going to be a lot of home games this month, and our point man in Madrid, Sid, is going to put out a lot of juicy content from the fans. So watch out for that on our Instagram and on our Twitter. Let's also take this opportunity to thank our partners over at Real Madrid Committee for their awesome work and support. All right, with that, Farouk, what to say?
Hala Madrid!
Hala Madrid.